As you can see, another amazing day in the UK. It's November, it's raining, it's cold, it's horrible. So let's bring the Twingo inside and get it prepped for track. Poor Lotus part outside in the rain. Hopefully it doesn't bubble away with osmosis, but I'm sure it'll be all right for the day. Yes, we've got a few things to do to the Twingo today. I've got to service it, oil, filter, all the usual malarkey, discs, pads, fluid. I did have some headlights on order as well, but they've not turned up yet, so that'll be another day. But basically, we're getting this ready for track. I want to do it as cheaply as possible. I just want to batter it around in the winter. Yes, there's a perfect track car there, but on Cup 2s, I just can't be bothered changing them for the winter. I'd rather just slam this round as well, and this is a Boss Country Road Blaster. Absorbs the bumps like nothing else. That thing's a bit too stiff for the road, so let's get on with it. Oh, and I've obviously got new wheels and tyres to fit as well. Thanks to CL Autos for sorting those out. Whilst I was over in Germany with PBS Brakes, our lovely sponsor of today. Let's get on with it. So I opted for OZ F1 wheels for this particular car. I know there's other wheels I could have bought, but these were nice, cheap and cheerful. Full set of tyres were 120 quid for some jitty, what are they called? GTR 2s off the Beetle Fun Cup, I believe. Nice fellow who sold them, thank you very much for them. So, unfortunately, when I did buy them though, one of the wheels has a buckle in. CL Autos kindly, well, he's marked which one has a buckle basically. I did manage to get some money back off the seller. He was all right with it, to be fair. I got him off eBay, so there was no bother with that. So I will get it straightened. But Chris said if you chuck it on the back, you shouldn't feel it. So I'm going to chuck it on the back and see how we get on. But worst case is I'll get it straightened. Trying to find the kind message Chris has left me on one of these tyres. He did say, oh, there it is. Hang on. Can you read that? Buckled. And a picture of his cock as well. For anyone who's not seen these Twingos, by the way, those seats fold perfectly flat. I had 4 tyres, 4 wheels in, no bother at all. These cars are so much bigger than they look. I was going to paint the wheels black, but to be honest, at the moment now, I'm going to chuck them on as they are, probably hammer them for a track day, get them full of brake dust, and then I'll refurbish them. The OEM wheels could do with a bit of a tart up as well for when they go back on for the roads, because they look like a shark has eaten the edges on them kind of thing, so yeah. Okay. I didn't even realise I had space on until I seen those long wheel nuts there. So these spacers do have, where are we? The retaining screws in them. There she is, just to keep them on. Which, judging by the wheel nuts, won't have any grease on them at all. So, wish me luck. Oh, it's going! Oh dear. Hideous things, those retaining screws. And like I say, looks like everything's been applied dry on this in the past as well, so unless they've got Loctite on them, they are starting to turn, they are peeling off the hub at the same time. But I do have some brand new ones with my Brembo discs that actually came with them, which is fortunate because I don't fancy knocking these off. So I hope the other side's just as easy to get off as this one, because it seems to be, famous last words, yeah, it seems to be alright at the moment. If it goes too loose too quickly, we know we've got a problem, don't we? So retaining screws out, horrible spacers off, get these calipers deconstructed. The previous owner looks like they painted the calipers with the brake pads in because there's red paint all over the calipers. I'm going to be painting them all black today because I hate red calipers on standard cars, you know what I mean? Like, they just look a bit naff. I'd rather it be a bit more subtle, so let's get this horrible, horrible thing off. I know for a fact I'm going to remember why I hate working on cars after I've played with this thing. Calipers off. Couple of end caps. I'm going to imagine there's a torque spot in there from what I remember of playing with single piston calipers. Need to push the pistons back in the brakes, whip them off, give them a decent clean up, get these new discs on. Apply some Ceratec this time as well. Whoever's fannied around with this in the past has applied nothing, so these sliders have seen better days, haven't they? State of them. Whip the brackets off, clean all these up, get them all sanded down to ensure the contact surface is nice and smooth for new pads to go into. And then, yeah, retaining screws are off. This disc might take a whack or two, obviously, once these brackets are off. And then we're looking fresh and shiny again, won't we, guys? So I've cleaned up the mounting face for the disc there. Now I need to start getting this caliper back together. I'm going to scrape off all this crud in here and just tidy it up a bit as well. But as you may notice, the previous pads, obviously having been used, the piston is pushed out a little bit. So in comes tools accumulated throughout the years. Basically that goes against the piston. This goes about the other side of the caliper and it pushes it back in. And take the reservoir lid off as well, just helps. Like so, and then this is turned, which obviously pushes it back in. So there we have one side all back together, discs, retaining screw, pads, caliper, sliders, blah, 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 grease where it needs to be. The annoying little spring that goes on the outside of these single piston calipers as well, that's on. I've pumped the brake, spun the disc, we seem okay on this side. I'm not going to paint it just yet. What I might do, I don't know. I'm not going to bleed it just yet though, so obviously I want to get all the brakes done on the car. I'll take it out, bed the brakes in, and then I'll do the fluid. Plus, it's easy with another person as well, so I'll rope stay in to come and press the pedal or Heather or whoever. Or Athena, the 18-month-old, I'm sure I can teach her some new tricks, can't I? So, other side, backs, service, go. Fortunately, I did buy some new wheel nuts as well, because without knowing those spaces had such long nuts on them anyway, they were just looking a bit cruddy. So, new wheel nuts to go on for anyone thinking those other ones are far too long. One thing to note when you're putting these OZF ones on Twingos, they're very close to the calipers. So if you're putting your wheel weights on, which I've just found out, they're very close to the calipers. Make sure you're fitting them back a bit or doing ones on the outside of the rim. Otherwise you might have problems with scuffing them up, knocking them off, etc, etc. So I quite like these OZF ones. I was a bit apprehensive because they're a little bit small, but the standard Twingo 17s are a bit of a pain to get drag tyres for. In fact, impossible to get track tyres for. Used to do triple eights back in the day and I couldn't find any at all. So, like I said, I've ended up with those Gitty GTR 2s for 120 quid for a full set. Bargain. So with the mid 15s, they're obviously going to be a little bit cheaper as well. So I might try different tyres afterwards. But from the reviews I've read, they're meant to be on par with, if not better than triple eight. So we'll see. Yeah, show you how it looks. Those horrible spaces on the back I've had to get off with a chisel just because they've corroded onto the rear brake discs. But I've managed to pry them off. Wasn't too much mire there. The car does look better on them, to be fair, but I'll be cleaning them back up if I do put the road wheels back on and giving them a little bit of copper slip, grease, whatever I need to put on. just to make sure that if I do want to take them off again, I can do. They've been on for some time then. Those front discs as well that I've just taken off were absolute toast. I think they're the original discs. I'll show you one now. Look at the kip of them. 96,000 miles. Gonna follow my face. Ooh. Previous owners had his money's worth out of them, but obviously new discs all round, new pads all round. Brakes now bedded in. Let's get it jacked up, let's get the oil drop, let's get the filter off, let's get it ready for this track day, which will be in December. Tyres didn't seem too sketchy in the rain then. I've just taken it around my local back roads and roundabout. Not really got any heat in them at all. And they perform no worse than a road tyre, so hopefully on track I get a bit of heat in them and get some grip in them. But part and parcel of fun of winter track days is sliding around really, isn't it? So, oil. I've said it before, and I'll say it again as well. Get yourself a decent toolkit. I've had a Halfords one for the last 3-4 years now. They're a lot dearer than they used to be. I used to work there, so you used to get the trade price as well. But it's a worthy investment. I know Blue Point do one as well. If you want to feel, you know, flush, get a snap-on one. But just a good toolkit that you can kind of carry around with you is ideal. I've got my snap-on tools yesterday, but grabbing stuff out all the time can be a bit of a pain in the bum. So, little Halfords toolkit, beautiful. Oh, we're not sponsored by Halfords either. Halfords, get in touch, send us some free stuff. If you're ever stuck buying something for anyone who's into the cars, power tools, always handy. I've accumulated them over many years, but it's so much easier than using hand tools. So yeah, nice one coming up to Christmas. Wire French drain plugs, such a pain. Every other one, hex bolt, Allen key, whatever. These some weird kind of square key that unfortunately you can't get your socket into either. So I thought, bingo, not had a French car for a while, not done a service on one. Just slightly oversized. No good. I'll figure it out. So I'm pretty much just giving up on that bolt there, but I have improvised with a set of mole grips and a bit of a hammer propping it up as well, which will... Whoa! I've managed to crack it off. And I've got a new one to put back on, which I'll put back on the same way. Right guys, that's it for today. Car rolled out, time to tidy up. But yeah, oil, filter, pads, disc, tyres and wheels. My little stage 1 track day prep. I'm sure there's more to come because it does get addictive after this. You know, suspension, seats, cage, etc, etc. Want to do it to that cheap of a car? Would I buy something else already done? Hit like it, subscribe and find out.